and welcome to another episode of How Are You Holding Up? A mental health podcast by the depressed for the depressed. I'm Lindsey.
And I'm Chris.
And today we're going to talk about the pandemic.
Yeah.
Welcome to 2020, where we have the first pandemic since 1918, the Spanish flu.
Yeah, it's fun.
How are you holding up?
I can't stop touching my face because I am afflicted by an immune system that wants to believe that the outside world is trying to kill me at all times. I have allergies. So...
Yeah, I have a lot of friends who have allergies. My friend was just kicked out of the gym because she was sneezing.
Oh.
Not a sign that you have COVID-19.
Yes, just sneezing. Just allergies.
Just allergies.
Cool. So yeah, this is going to be an episode that is kind of... This was more of an inspired episode, but we'll get to this in a minute. Lindsey, how are you holding up?
I'm doing okay. I'm concerned. I am hopeful. And I'm glad to be visiting with family down in town, so I get to be in person with Chris.
Yay!
That makes me happy.
Yay! Yeah. And neither of us are sick, so it's even better.
Even better. Yeah.
So, like I was saying, this is an episode that was kind of in, as I'm sure everybody is aware, this is a little bit of a spur-of-the-moment topic. Yes. This is not something that really any of us were... expecting.
No.
Or
how do you expect the pandemic?
You don't really, unless you've played Plague Inc. a considerable amount, in which case you just kind of get that existential dread just all the time.
Yeah. So I am really grateful for social media right now because we're able to see what's happening from people that we know and love. I have several friends and family who are overseas, and so I get to see kind of what is happening versus what the media is telling us.
Yes.
And first and foremost, I do want to say that we are not, while we are going to try to be light and pleasant, we are taking this seriously, and I'm very frustrated by the people who say, well, it's just, I'm fine, I'm healthy, like, I don't know why everyone's freaking out, because I think there are some serious concerns, and we do want to talk about those. But we also know that we're all kind of dealing with anxiety and dread, and so we don't want to get too heavy.
Yeah. So this is going to be one of those fine balancing acts of, guys, we know that it's scary.
Yeah, we want to acknowledge it.
We know that it is, there's a lot going on. You might be on your last roll of toilet paper because some Karen decided to just buy 8 bags of it. But... we're going to try the best we can to get through this together.
Yes.
So, starting off, what are we trying to accomplish in terms of fending off this feeling that we're all feeling?
Yes.
Because we cannot let this overwhelm us. Fear, we have done an episode on fear, and we never really tackled it in this scope before, because this is now deriding into panic.
Right, because we do have grandparents and parents. I have parents in the age range that it's not necessarily good for them to go out. My little sister's school has been closed. Everything is being...
Yeah, we have friends who are immunocompromised, very close friends who have a lot of different health conditions that would not allow them to survive if they were to get it.
Yeah. We and we're seeing, and I am somebody who is hourly in terms of work. So when my work closes, I am greatly affected. Yeah. So and we're affected in a lot of ways from this, and so it's easy to get kind of swept up in, on one hand feeling guilty almost for taking it seriously, because then you hear other people saying, well, it's not that big of a deal, or wow, we're being really over the top on this and we're going to destroy our economy, et cetera, et cetera. And then swinging to the other part of, like, a lot of people I know could die. Mm-hmm. We're going to have many, many people get sick in this country. So what are we going to do? Well, I think you should check in your local extrovert and see how they're doing. Because I feel bad for all extroverts right now.
Yeah, it is not an easy time right now to be extroverted and want to go out and be a part of the world when the world could potentially kill you. So, For me, for example, I've been trying my best to be more social online and be reaching out to folks and trying to do as much as I can where I'm talking to folks, I'm texting back and forth, and
In some ways, this is an incredible time to still stay connected, even though we are trying to be out of touch with people, like physical, like in self-quarantining. There's a better way of saying all that. I'm a little foggy
social
brained.
distancing.
Yeah, social distancing, a term I have never heard of
Until
now.
Yeah, until recently, social
Yeah.
distancing was not exactly a thing that maybe like scientists would have maybe talked about, but
I have several friends who are really depressed right now.
Yeah.
And one of my friends has a cold. What a time to have a cold. He's an extreme extrovert, constantly the kind of guy who's going to these interesting events and he's a photographer as well.
Yeah.
And so he has just loads and loads of people he knows in interesting ways, and he can't leave his house because he has a cold. He does not have COVID-19, but you can't go out right now. I'm sick.
there's other difficulties that people are experiencing on top of this, like, I mean, the economic difficulties, the sociological difficulties, there's difficulties in just healthcare as well. If you are unfortunate enough to be an American, as the majority of our audience is, you will know that if you were to exhibit symptoms of COVID-19, that there would be a difficulty in getting tested unless you could prove that you have been directly in contact with someone who is positively confirmed to have COVID-19, or you've been out of the country in one of the most affected areas recently.
Yeah.
Those are the only ways you can get tested. Otherwise, you're just going to have to self-isolate. It's frustrating. There's, you hear talk of other countries who are able to take care of it. Hong Kong, Singapore, South Korea. They've all been taking steps and measures that are vastly better than what America has been doing. And it's understandable to be frustrated.
Yeah.
It is probably, of all the emotions that I have felt due to this,
Frustration.
frustration and rage.
Well, and we're helpless.
Yeah, it is the feeling of helplessness made manifest.
Yeah.
Because this is not something that we can just will away. This is something that takes a lot of hard work and a lot of people with power and money to get off their ass and do something.
Well, and I think one of the things that, I just brain farted. So, I had such a strong stream of consciousness, and it's just gone. It's gone.
That's okay. This is kind of one of those episodes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm realizing that my adult ADHD has gotten much worse, and I have a hard time when I have multiple thoughts going on. It's hard to stick on one. Remind me of what you were just talking about.
I was talking about America is kind of not doing great as far as their response.
Right, and I was going to say, and it's hard when you don't know what to expect.
Yes.
When you don't know how bad it's going to be, if it's going to, because we're self-containing and because we're trying to do the quarantines before anybody gets too sick, we're hoping that it won't be as bad as other countries in terms of the spread, but I just, you just don't know. So a few things that I think are good to remember for this time is, while I don't think people should overstock too much, do get some supplies should food be difficult to get a hold of, or what you don't want to do is wait till you run out and then have to go stand in line for 3 hours on a day that you're supposed to go to work or something, get some canned goods, get some frozen stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe just take little trips. Make sure that you're stocked and taken care of.
And try to find smaller grocery stores too.
Yeah.
Don't be going to your Walmarts and your Mega Marts and whatever other marts exist in the world, because that's where everybody else is going. Guys, we gotta at this point, we do have to also be supporting the smaller, more independent businesses.
Sure.
It's time for their time to shine in the sun.
Yeah.
But I think
Back to how to fend off the existential dread.
Yes, the existential dread. If you are self-quarantining, and there's going to be a lot of folks who are, their work is closing, they have to self-quarantine anyway. What do you do with all that time you've got? And we have a few suggestions that hopefully one of them will kind of hitch on with you.
My little sister's school shut down, and she's got about 3 hours a day of online courses. She's in high school, senior year. And so my mom and she went to Michael's. They stood in line to get in. And then I guess everyone's like, oh, we have time. And they bought a ton of paint supplies and things to paint, like birdhouses and beautiful, yeah. And so she picked up a new hobby.
Yeah.
Get a hobby.
Get a hobby.
A new one. Be okay with being bad at it.
Oh, yeah. Especially be okay with being bad at it. If you are like me, you have a bookshelf of books that you have not read. And while I have read a lot of the books that are on my bookshelf, I have several books that I look at and go, oh yeah, I never picked that one up. I just have it, and it looks very nice on my shelf collecting dust. Time to dust it off. Time to get reading, guys. Or get involved in some online groups if you are not of the book reading ilk. You want to get social with it. It's time to look into some online groups.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough that early on I got invited into some women's groups for my area that I live in. And so it's really been supportive and sweet because a lot of these women have their own businesses from home or little online businesses, and they're worried. And so it's just nice to have people uplift each other and be like, yes, I will support you. Or, hey, let's start like a food drive for the families who just don't have the money to have a month's worth of food for their children. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So like, this is a great time to get communal and think of how to help instead of how to survive.
Yeah, that is a really good way to put it. I've been seeing a lot lately of, there's one of my former chefs at culinary school. He is doing fundraising right now for his own, he has a restaurant and he's designing food packs basically.
To pre-make and then take them to people's homes.
To take them to people's homes, to take them to homeless people especially. Because
wow.
that's one of the things that is definitely going to be an issue, especially here in Los Angeles, which as of recording this episode, it is Sunday evening, our mayor has just announced literally maybe an hour or two ago that they're going to be closing all bars, nightclubs, restaurants, except for takeout and delivery. They're going to be shutting down bowling alleys, entertainment venues, movie theaters. Like, everything is getting locked down to try and stop this spread and trying to prevent people gathering in groups of 50 or more. So
for the next 8 weeks.
For the next 8 weeks, at least. Well, the original deadline is the 31st of March, but it could get pushed.
They're saying that 8 weeks will be for the major things to stay that we're not supposed to have gatherings of larger than 50 people. So we're taking this day by day.
Yes. So speaking of, if you have regular in-person groups that you meet with, take it online, guys. I have a weekly RPG group. We play role-playing games. We're going to meet online.
Yes.
Simple as that. If you have not tried D&D, now would be a good time.
This was supposed to be the title for today's...
Yes.
Yeah, it was, we were going to do D&D. It was my little sister's suggestion. And she was saying disease and depression.
Yes.
And that we would be your dungeon masters.
Yes. In a way, we still are. Maybe we'll do... That'd be kind of fun, actually. That'd be a fun bonus episode.
Yeah, maybe we will do that.
We do a D&D session. I do it with you and your partner.
If you guys do want to join us for special episodes, we do have
our Patreon. Yeah. Which, yeah, that's neither here nor there. We'll get to that later. Anyway, so ways to stay in touch. This one, if you guys haven't noticed, this is a lot more stream of conscious than usual.
Yeah, we just had a really long chat with Chris's grandmother about this whole thing. So we're a little bit frazzled, but we're keeping on track. So if you have those awesome groups that you usually go out to the movies with, or you guys do board games, take it online. And we have a few options of where you can do that.
Yes. The first of which, if you want to do online RPGs, there's Roll20 is a really good resource. It is an online... role-playing, it creates a map and everybody can be on voice chat together.
That's really cool.
And the dungeon master will control the map. and you can see whatever they want you to see.
We'll link that. That's really cool.
That is a fun one. You can also do Skype, obviously.
Yeah, so I don't, obviously probably all of us have heard of most of these, but we just wanted to share some free options. So Skype is free. It's a video chat. You guys know probably. You can also text. WhatsApp, that's what I use to talk to anyone international. You can do phone calls, texting, voice memos, and it's free.
You also mentioned Marco Polo.
Yeah, Marco Polo is an app I use for some family members in other states. It's just a video chat. So it's not like you send videos to each other. You can doodle on it. There are filters, and you can also send photos. And it just records it, and then it sends it. And it's just fun because you can see when the person's watching it, and they can watch you while you're recording live. And I don't know, it's just kind of a different way of doing stuff.
And unlike something like Snapchat, it doesn't delete.
No, it does not delete. So you'll have like a whole text chain, but it's video chain.
That's lovely. If you want to play games online, there's Discord. You can create Discord groups. You can create your own channels. If you've not heard of Discord, it is basically one of the most major ways that gamers can communicate while playing games. It used to be Vent. Yeah. Oh man, that just took me back. There also used to be TeamSpeak, which, oh man, now I'm showing my age. But there's a lot of options out there if you want to play games. I know Steam has Steam Chat has like a VoIP version, but you can figure it out. And ultimately, for other groups that make it a little more difficult for people to meet up together, like say if you are practicing a religion, it is going to be very difficult for you to practice worship, go to church,
I know some churches do have online services. I know the one that my family has gone to is they also, I know a lot of folks who do Reiki and meditation, they're starting to do online meditation that's live. So I don't know, it's nice when it's live because you can interact with them and you can send, your thoughts and stuff.
Absolutely. So those are all the ways that we've kind of thought of as far as keeping in touch
for free
with one another for free. You have to have a computer and a phone, obviously, but I think
most of us have that
at this point. Hopefully, yes. Otherwise, I don't know how you're listening to this podcast. Somebody out there has an iPod still, or a Zune. A Zune would be funny. If you have a library card,
yay! There's the library app, and you can get books. You can get audiobooks. Sometimes you have to wait. There's a wait sometimes, but that's really rare. And that's been cool because it's free. And I know that I have Audible, but that's $15 a month. So that's why I love the library app. And I'm not sure what other... I haven't explored it a lot. I know sometimes they have they do have movies and stuff at libraries that you can rent. But I don't know if that's an available option on the app.
Yes. Museums. I just found a list of 12 famous museums that are offering virtual tours.
Ew.
That you can take on your couch. The British Museum in London, the Guggenheim Museum in New York, which is really cool.
Yeah.
The National Gallery of Art. The list goes on, and they're an international museum. You can even go to the Getty Museum, apparently.
It's incredible what you can do now.
Yeah, I actually really like that you can go to the Getty, because I really typically don't really like going to the Getty.
Right.
So now I can just go online. Oh, how nice. Video games.
Yeah, so, Chris, of course, wanted to mention some awesome video games that are coming out.
So, yes, as those of you who play video games are probably aware, this Friday, March 20th, is going to be Animal Crossing and Doom out on the same day, Doom Eternal. So there's been a lovely little friendship that has begun between the two games online, if you have not seen it. It is adorable as hell watching Isabelle and the Doom Marine, aka Doomguy, just hanging out, being bros. It's Pretty nice.
If you're new to those games and you don't play video games, Doom is a game where you run around and you kill demons from hell.
Yes. And Animal Crossing is a game where you befriend animals and you pay off your mortgage on your house.
So it's adorable that these are doing online like cross interactions because that's really rare. That usually doesn't happen.
No,
so good for them.
It really doesn't. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
Besides those, I mean, if there are other video games that one can play that spend their time on, you know, find something that you enjoy, something that doesn't panic you too much, obviously.
Yeah.
Something a little more chill and relaxed. More on the Animal Crossing side, maybe, than the Doom side. But
when you're feeling frustrated, you go to Doom. When you need some, you know,
some
peace.
chillax. Yeah. You just go Animal Crossing, go fish.
That sounds nice.
Go fishing. It's nice.
That sounds nice.
And then there's one other thing that we kind of wanted to talk about.
Yes. So I was on a quest to find a company that had clean, I guess, ingredients in their soaps and conditioners and lotions, etc., and was also sustainable. So that didn't use single-use plastics. And I was on Facebook, and there's all kinds of groups. And if you're not a part, I'm sure most of you know this, but if you don't, there's entrepreneur groups, there's buy and sell groups, there's small business groups, and you join them, and then you can just see people's posts, but you can also post, obviously. Mm-hmm. And I asked for that, and then I got just like a massive list of people, these women and men who had small businesses who had these incredible products. And I was thinking about how we're all going crazy. Well, not all of us, but many of us are buying all this stuff from the store, and we're like, where are we going to get our soap? Where are we going to get our toilet paper? There are so many companies online and small businesses that have been for years creating excellent quality products, and you can find them.
Yes.
And just don't freak out. There is plenty of, we are such a rich culture, especially in the United States. There is so much wealth in products and people creating these amazing things that you can find what you need. You might just have to be creative with your hunt.
Yes, you may have to look in sources that you would not otherwise venture towards.
Yeah.
So the one that you found that we will link to is Grove Collaborative, not a sponsor.
Yeah, that's actually not a small business, but it's one that I've just been using until I find a good business to support. But
yes.
They're
apparently going to be 100% plastic free by 2025. That is really nice.
Yes.
So
and they have toilet paper.
Yes, they do.
And they have a lot of products. It's just one of the companies that we were thinking of mentioning. But yeah, you can go on Etsy if you don't know what that is. Mm-hmm. Those are small businesses. And I mentioned the groups on Facebook. You guys can do it. We can get through this.
Yes.
We will be okay.
We will all manage together in whatever way we can and try and be as supportive of one another as is possible.
Because I think the thing to remember is even though you may be healthy and you may be doing okay and not so affected by all this, and it's frustrating for you because everything's changing, there are people in your life who might have multiple autoimmune disorders, and you could just be a carrier. And we have to think of the people who are going to be affected by this, because we are a community.
Yes.
And we are supposed to be supportive and loving, and that feels good when you are. Like, why waste your time being angry and frustrated when you can think of a way to be compassionate about what other people are experiencing right now? And if you yourself are anxious because you're dealing with financial burdens, you're dealing with the anxiety of the unknown, just know that there are so many supportive people out there. And also there's a bunch of groups that are coming together to figure out how to help through this. So like Chris was mentioning earlier that water and gas, they were...
Yeah, in Los Angeles at least, water, power, and gas, there's been a freeze on turning those off if you can't afford to pay them. They're also instituting a moratorium in Los Angeles on evictions. So if you cannot pay your rent, you are not going to be evicted. They were basically removing that right of landlords for the time being.
I know that taxes are being pushed back, that they're not going to be due. There's just so many things that are coming up. It's a good time we have a lot of time, I think, to start looking into where you need help, there will be support.
Mm-hmm.
You're not just trying to figure this out on your own. There are other people going through exactly what you're going through.
We are all going to do everything we can, and we need to all remember, if we remember nothing else, that we are resilient, we are capable, and we will make the right choices. Because if you are scared, we're scared too. And we're going to be okay. It's okay to be scared. Just breathe and remember to keep breathing. For lack of a better way to end that, there's really just one breath at a time, one step at a time.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening. We appreciate you. We hope that you're doing well. We love hearing from you. I love getting your messages on Facebook.
Yes. We love every time we get a comment, anytime you send us an email. Just, if anything, hey, shoot us a line. Let us know you're okay.
Yeah, I actually want to hear how you guys are doing, especially through what's going on with this.
Yeah.
Like where you're located, how are people dealing with it in your community? Because I trust you guys more than I trust the media right now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I definitely trust all of you listeners way more than I trust the media. As for us, follow us on Instagram at HAYHU Podcast. Subscribe to the subreddit, like the Facebook page. If you want to support us directly, we have the Patreon, which we have a Discord that is one of the levels on the Patreon, which we can set up if you want to stay in touch with us a little more directly. We might be trying to, with all these quarantines going down, maybe we'll set up a game night.
Yeah.
Do something fun, just together. We'll figure something out. And that'll be good.
That'll be good. All right, guys, stay safe. And as always,
don't tell us to just get over it.